right, welcome back to Top 5 Vinyl, where we show love to vinyl owners. Today I am here with Larry. How's it going, sir?
It's going good. How are you doing?
Not too bad. Glad to hear that. Before we get started, I hear that you have a blog. Where can the people find your blog?
It's on Facebook, or you can connect to it through Facebook. It's ranting raving dot blogspot.com. It's
Nice.
it's Google. It's related to Google, but you can find it on Facebook also.
Okay, cool. And I'll put that link at the bottom of this page so people can find that.
Okay,
But
great.
before we get started, I want everybody to like the channel, subscribe to the channel, tell your friends, all that cool YouTube stuff you guys got to do out there. With that being said, Larry, can you tell me, did you grow up with a record player in the house?
Yes, my mother was very much into Broadway shows and Broadway tunes, so. She, I mean, from infancy, we heard all the great shows off of record,
Mm,
vinyl record. We had the quintessential hi-fi, and so in the 50s and 60s, that's really was my and my sister's introduction to records and record collecting.
okay. And as a kid, was the record player on or off limits? Could you touch it or no?
When we got older, we could. I mean, I remember when I was about 7 or 8 years old, we bought a new hi-fi, and it came actually with free records, and like about
Mm,
20 of them,
mm,
which I still have each and every one of them. And my sister and I would just play it, and we were very careful.
mm.
We were, so yeah, it wasn't off limits. But my mother listened at the time to the majority of stuff. And then when we got into it, she started to buy us records, and then we gravitated to buying our own.
Gotcha. And that was going to be my next question. Do you remember the first vinyl record that you ever bought with your own money?
Yes, I do, and I have it here.
Ah, okay, okay. When we get to this is in your top five?
Absolutely.
Okay, cool. You'll have to mention that when we get to that number. That's
Yes, and
pretty
I have
cool.
it's the original record. I still have it and it still plays.
Wow. Okay, okay. Uh, in your vinyl record heyday, did you have a favorite record store to buy vinyl from?
Yeah, I mean, in New York, anybody from New York knows that Corvettes was the place to go to. It was a discount store. It had everything, so you could buy towels and
Mm,
sheets, and then go over to the record store and buy stuff there. Also, Mays, not
mm,
Macy's, Mays department stores had an incredible record section. I mean, it was just absolutely incredible. And
mm,
when I was younger, my mother would go clothing shopping, and my father would come along, and the two little kids would come along, and we'd invariably end up in the Mays record section, and my father would buy us a couple of records, basically just to shut us up. We didn't
right,
want to be there.
right, right. That's funny. Okay. Is there a record out there that you have not acquired that you still want?
Oh, what a great question that is! Yes, the birds, the bees, and the monkeys in mono on Coal Gems. I have it on stereo. It's come out in 50 different variations over the last literally almost 50 years,
Mm,
almost 60 years, I should say. And I cannot find a real mono original release on Coal Gems. They're out there. They're very expensive. Most people find them in garage sales because people don't know what they're worth.
mm.
Sell them for $1 and they're worth $1,000. And that's the one that I haven't been able to find. Other than that, I found everything that I've wanted to find.
Okay, okay. That's pretty cool. And with that being said, Larry, this is top five vinyl.
Hmm.
Can you share with me the number five album that you have in front of you?
Well, it's not album because my albums, unfortunately, are in storage.
Mm,
So, unfortunately, we have a small apartment. I can't fit everything in, but
okay,
I do have five singles,
okay, okay.
and singles are increasing in popularity and in price. And I do have my top five, so I have them here. The first one is this one.
Mm,
Um, it's They're coming to take us away, haha, by Napoleon the 14th. Now, the reason that I picked that, that's a novelty record. It was a very big hit in 1966. It was pulled off a lot of stations because they felt it was making fun of mental illness.
Mm,
But it became a very large hit. The reason I chose it for today was because in the development I lived in called Rochdale Village, it was 20 buildings, God knows how many apartments. Napoleon the 14th lived in
mm,
Rochdale Village. His
mm,
name is Jerry Samuels. I did not know his children. They're a little bit older than me. I knew of them, and nobody knew that he was Napoleon the 14th. That was a very guarded secret by Warner Brothers Records and by the development. So I didn't find out that he lived within walking distance of where I lived
mm,
until maybe about 20 years ago. But
mm,
he had a huge hit record with this, especially in New York.
mm.
And so that's why I chose this record. It's no
Huh.
picture sleeve, but that's why I chose this record.
That's pretty cool. Okay, okay. So that's your number five.
Right.
Let's go ahead and take a look at your number four.
Okay, number four is this one. You Got What It Takes by the Dave Clark Five. I loved the Dave Clark Five. I still love them. I love their music. There's a lot of controversy with them about who actually played on the records, who actually wrote the songs. But You Got What It Takes is an old record. It was done by I think the artist was Marv Johnson years before this. But in 1967, they took this, they rocked it up. I saw it on. We actually, my family, we would sit around the TV watching the Ed Sullivan Show,
Mm,
and they were on performing this. And the next day, my mother ran out and bought this for us. So still have it. Here's the picture sleeve. Here it is. And
nice,
the,
nice.
the, the B side is also very good. It's called Doctor Rhythm. It's a great song, and I always loved the Dave Clark Five. They were one of my top bands.
Okay, okay. And before I ask you about your number three, have you seen any of your top five perform live before?
Yes, yes, I have. I
Okay,
one of them,
okay.
and the other. I don't think I'll ever see the other ones
Hmm.
perform live,
Right,
but
right.
one of them I have by the original band, or at least a couple of the members of the original band. So
Hmm.
yes.
Okay. All right, cool. So we've seen your five and your four. Let's go ahead and take a look at your number three.
Okay, this one is very good for the season right now that we're coming up to.
Hmm.
This was by the Royal Guardsmen, and it was part of the Snoopy series of records. This one is Snoopy's Christmas. Um, I, I'm a Jewish guy, and this is my favorite Christmas record of all.
Hmm.
It's in the realm of all the Snoopy songs that they had. Snoopy versus the Red Baron and those type of things. The Return of the Red Baron, and it's just a fun record. And even the B side, it kind of looks like Christmas. It's really a great record. It was number one on Billboard's Christmas chart in 1967, and you still hear it on the radio during the holidays. It's really a great record,
Hmm.
and I didn't have it with the picture sleeve, but this is one of those I got the picture sleeve 40 years later.
Hmm.
So
Hmm.
I have it with the picture sleeve, and I'm very happy to have it. So
Okay, okay.
yes,
That's pretty cool. Let me take a look real quick just to make sure I don't butcher the name. So one of my wife's favorite albums that she has hanging up behind me is a Charlie Brown Christmas, Vince Guaraldi Trio.
different,
Yes.
quite
Yes.
quite different. That was by the guy who did the soundtrack for all the Charlie Brown specials.
Hmm.
This was a band who actually took the name Snoopy and put it in their songs. Charles Schultz took great offense to it. They worked out some type of monetary deal, so they were able to do it here. But in Canada, not so. And Snoopy has became the Black Knight.
Mm. Mm.
So it's it
Mm.
only works for the United States.
Huh, okay. That's cool. That's
Yeah.
cool. All right. So we've seen your five, four, and your three. Let's go ahead and take a look at your number two.
Okay, number two. This was the first record I ever bought with my money. A little bit me, a little bit you by the Monkees.
Mm.
It was a big hit in 1967. They were absolutely huge. I saw it performed by, different incarnations of the band leading up to Mike Nesmith's death. The B-side is The Girl I Knew Somewhere, which was written by Mike Nesmith. It's a very pivotal single in their history. And for me, I bought it 69 cents in Crest store, the Crest store, which was a Woolworth. It basically part of the same company in Rochdale Village, where I lived in South Jamaica, Queens, in 1967. So I was 9, 10 years old.
Mm,
They had to reach behind the you walked in there, the singles, they didn't want anybody to
mm.
steal it, so it was in like a case behind the counter. So I had to actually ask for it,
Huh.
and that's where I bought it, and I've had it ever since. My sister wrote her name in it somewhere over here, but I it still plays fine, and it will always be one of my favorite records of all time.
That's awesome. Okay, okay. And Larry, for the grand finale, what do we have for number one?
Okay, going by the fact that I'm very 60s oriented with my music, even though I do like other eras, I have this one. And this is obviously the pivotal one, probably in a lot of people's lives. I Want to Hold Your Hand by the Beatles,
Mm.
back when I saw her standing there. Now, I was one of the millions that watched Ed Sullivan with my parents that night and my sister, and we saw them in February 1964. We were just coming off JFK's assassination. We needed something to pick us up, and this was it. And
Mm.
everybody ran out to get this record. And the interesting thing is that I don't know if you can see it, but Paul
Yeah.
McCartney is holding a cigarette.
Huh, yes, I see that.
However, when this was re-released in 1984 for the 20th anniversary, the cigarette is not there anymore.
Oh, wow. Huh.
They took it out. I guess they figured that it would make children run out and buy cigarettes,
Mm, mm,
start to smoke. So, but no, that is probably one of the all-time greatest records ever. It just changed everything, and everybody, no matter what your race, nationality, everybody loves this record. And
mm, mm.
how can I pick anything else?
Understood. Well, Larry, I want to thank you for sharing your time with me. That was a great five, and we will talk soon, sir.
Okay, thank you very much for having me, and go vinyl.
Go vinyl. Have a good one, man.
Bye bye.
All right, bye.